Howdy peeps, and welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel. Today I'd like to talk about something that I think is a vital component to any fish tank or aquarium, glass box filled with water, whatever you wish to call it. And that is the humble snail. Now, for some reason, and I don't know why, they get a bad rep. It seems there's not a day goes by where on at least one Facebook group you see the post, "I have snails in my tank, how do I get rid of them? Will they do harm?" They won't. The only snails you can get into a tank that will do harm are ones you've put in there. Things like the mystery snails, the rabbit snails, they might eat some plants, or they will, and the Marissa snail as well, I think, eats plants. The theyre snails, the Malaysian trumpet snails, pond snails, bladder snails, ram's horn snails do nothing but good for a tank. They don't do any harm to anything. They do a great job keeping the glass clean of green spot algae. They don't add a huge bioload to a tank. And let's be honest, they're fascinating to watch. Now in this little shrimp tank here, 20 litre, so was that 5 gallon, maybe 6 gallon, 5.5, 6, something like that. I have Malaysian trumpet snails and I have theyre snails, both of which I've added, and they do what you want. I mean, every single one of my tanks has snails in it on purpose. The only reason I can think of you might not want them is aesthetics, but I believe they are a fairly vital part of an ecosystem, which is what you want in a fish tank. Especially, one you want to remain healthy, stay good and solid and stable for a long time. Now, they generally don't add to a bioload. I mean, obviously they do, but not noticeably. Your bacteria will soon catch up, and they're awesome little creatures. Now, as you can see, we'll probably just see, yep, we've got one of the theyre snails coming trundling across the glass, om-and-omming away. You can see, watch his little feelers go, see his little teeth go. So, I mean, my tanks have the lights on 12 hours a day. They've all got snails in. Very few of them have any algae whatsoever. There is a direct correlation there, trust me. But yeah. So the only thing I can think of, the reason that people don't want them, I think, no. I remember going back to the late 80s when my foster father had a fish tank. As soon as he saw some snails in there one day, that's it. Straight down to the local pet shop. Get something to kill the snails. And as time's gone by, we've realised they're not bad for a tank. I'm quite why he wanted to kill all the little snails, because there weren't that many, and he did have a clown loach in there. It's beyond me, but there we go. Excuse me while I have a swig. Now, one thing I will say, I do see, and what I would call bad advice, because to me it just doesn't really make sense. Excuse me, and that's people say, "I've got snails, how do I get rid of them?" And okay, let's say you don't want snails in your tank for whatever reason. People will say, put assassin snails in there. because they will kill the other snails. True, but then they multiply and then you have a load of assassin snails. Excuse me, I'm having issues with my throat today. Or people say, get X or Y loach. They eat snails. Well, that's great. But you're adding to the bioload of a tank. And if it's a smaller tank such as this, there aren't really any loaches that are suitable to add. You know, let's be honest, the ones that predominantly eat snails grow to several inches long, live for several years. In the case of yo-yo loaches, in personal experience, they can turn aggressive and start attacking and killing your other fish. Now, this goes back to the whole cleanup crew thing, where you want a tank and you want to put in it what you want in it. Don't go buying a yo-yo loach or a clown loach or something just to clear some snails out, because then what are you going to do with it once it's got rid of all the snails? You've got a fish you didn't really originally want in the tank, it wasn't part of your plan. Just go with the snails. If they start over infesting a tank, you get thousands of them, that's the general clue that you're feeding too much, because they will only reproduce and survive in a quantity that the amount of food in the tank is able to support. Like anything, there's X amount of food in there, so you'll have X amount of population to eat the food. And this seems pretty obvious to me. So yeah, in summary, snails are good, don't be scared of them, and they're great for a tank. Now, if you do want to get rid of them still, for whatever reason, the only reason I can think of being aesthetics, you don't like the look of them, or perhaps you've got a phobia of them, I don't know, I can't judge. Most of us have a phobia of some description. The best way to do it isn't to put something in there to kill them. It's not to buy a loach or a puffer fish or something like that. It's not to dump a bunch of chemicals into the tank to kill them, because then you'll end up with a whole bunch of dead snails. You'll probably get a big ammonia spike and it may well kill some fish. The best thing to do, get either a snail trap or just a little dish, petri dish, that kind of thing. Stick some green veg in it, leave it overnight, come back in the morning, fish the trap or the dish out, clean the snails out of it and put it back in again, and keep doing that until you don't catch any more snails. That way you don't damage anything else in the tank, you're not adding harmful chemicals to the tank, which in future, for example, if you had snails in a tank and you then decided you didn't want those fish anymore, you wanted a shrimp tank, but you'd used a chemical to kill the snails, chances are there's going to be leftover chemical in that tank that will kill the shrimp as well, probably a copper base. So you then have to completely strip down, clean, start again on the tank, because otherwise anything you put in there is going to die shrimp wise. So there we go. Hopefully that should be enough rambling. But yeah, snails, they rock, they're awesome, love your snails. If you've got too many, just take them out or cut back on feeding and take some out. I ain't going to bite you, they're not slimy and horrible. And some of the snails are really pretty and some do an awesome job. The Malaysian trumpet snail, for example, burrows through the substrate and it turns your substrate over, stopping you from getting build-ups of anything nasty in there. So there we go. Hope it's either been informative, made you think a bit, or just vaguely interesting or amusing. Oh, listen to me try to speak when my throat tells me I can't. Anyway, whatever you've got, snails or no snails, shrimp or no shrimp, fish or whatever, enjoy your fish keeping. Peace out. Rock on. Don't forget to hit the like button, leave us a comment, subscribe, click the notification bell, all that good stuff, and bye bye.